the biggest company in the world, it doesn't make nearly as much news as these wild ragamuffins over on the other side of the street. But they had some more programs this week. Should we talk about that briefly?
Yes, I guess so. I mean, the time machine, again, is the other option.
Well, let's go through this just so we don't cause our future selves any problems, especially if we show up wearing raggedy clothes and potentially having been addicted to drugs like Stan's future self.
What?
I forgot, you don't watch South Park.
I thought you were talking about Stan Lane. Is there something I don't know about that you guys did some fantasy
Stan
booking?
Marsh.
Or Stan Lane got hooked on drugs in the future?
No. That's where they opened the service.
And Dennis became president.
Yeah, well, actually, President Condry. Dun, 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 dun. He would give the opening State of the Union address with a full Nelson facebuster. But no, they started the business where they were sending delinquent-looking individuals around to the various children in South Park, claiming to be from a time machine, and they are them from the future, seeking to come back and show these kids not to lead lives of dissipation and debauchery that would lead to them being ragamuffins and cretins off the street, such as this guy from the future. But the future selves, turned out the kids got smart to it and then basically wreaked havoc on their parents. And I think one set of parents may have been killed inadvertently. All right, anyway, now we'll go back to Smackdown on September 1st, the opening of the Labor Day weekend. And they were not, by the way, Brian, in the Hershey Park Arena. This is the new building. It's not the old, like as Bulldog would say, the fucking shithole Hershey Park. It's a new place they've got now. The cult members had written me last time we asked that question. Because I looked down at my notes and I wrote music, Cena, ! And the fans lost their fucking minds. Here comes John Cena. And I believe they've announced, what is he going to be around for, what they say, 7 weeks of television?
7 straight weeks, yes.
And what do we attribute this good fortune? Did they say, or just well, what the fuck? Do they still do the sweeps, the rating sweeps, September?
Well,
new season?
The other thing to think about is, of course, they did promote the fact, and nothing against this, I think it's wonderful that he's going to do Make-A-Wish in every single town that he's in. That's wonderful.
Oh, excellent.
It's one of the best things about John Cena. But I have to wonder if, due to the Hollywood strike, the writers and the actors going on strike as well, I'm guessing that kind of killed a lot of his projects, whatever was about to be worked on. And he probably.
What are you saying? He needs the money?
No, but I'm saying he knows he has 7 weeks he could do something. He can go do Make-A-Wish in 7 different towns. He's not working a full schedule. He's not doing the house shows. Are there house shows?
I don't know. I'm fucking with you anyway. But I don't think he needs the money, but it's nice. So they've got him for 7 weeks, and he's going to do the Make-A-Wishes.
Yeah, I don't think it's about the money.
And he's going to India. Apparently, he said that.
That's about the money. I think that's about the money.
That's probably about the money. I hope to God he doesn't. The food and the water apparently is what nearly killed William Regal and sickened like 24 of the boys when they went over there 25 years ago. And I'm not trying to insult any of our fans that may be living in the country of India, but apparently y'all have shit in your systems that we don't have in ours, and it doesn't take kindly to intruders or whatever. I don't know how that works. Apparently they're used to whatever they drink and eat over there. And I'm not talking about spicy shit giving you the runs. I'm talking about like deathly fucking intestinal parasites. But nevertheless.
Good luck, John Cena.
Good luck, John. Knock him out, John. So he's also announces he's going to be the host of Payback. Parenthetically, is hell, daddy. Tomorrow night on the fine Cock Network and all the other places they're showing it. And then Uso music plays. And here comes Jimmy. So now they got John in the Bloodline deal, which you would figure, top angle. And he, of course, asked Cena, "What are you doing here? The people came to see me, and they want to know why, Jimmy, why?" And then he started telling a story, and I'm not going to go into granular detail on a lot of this stuff this week, but he did it because he loves his brother. And he didn't want Jay corrupted like Roman Reigns or John Cena, either one. And he made fun of Cena's clothes and, you guys just take and take. And finally, John bowed back up at him verbally and ended up with telling him, "You know what? Here's the problem. The wrong Uso quit." And as he goes to walk off, Jimmy goes super kick him. John catches it, lifts him up, gives him the attitude adjustment. Boy, he does get some nice air on that one when he boosts the guys up. And boom, one move, and you're snickering already.
He also used to get a lot of air on that STF he would do, where he would have a crossface on the guy where his hands were nowhere near the guy. His hands would be locked a foot in front of the guy's face. I don't know what he was locked.
Well, he didn't want to cover up the guy's face when they were facing the hard camera, so they could get a good close-up. But yeah, boom, and one move, and he leaves, and there we go. So, again, this was a bonus for these people because they bought tickets 2 months ago or whenever, not thinking they were going to see John Cena, so they lost their rabbit-ass minds. What'd you think?
Nothing too much more I could add to that, but I think you're right in general about whether it's AEW or WWE, we're seeing a lot of cases where people just want to pop for their guys or see the person they've always wanted to see. It really doesn't matter what they do. And
unfortunately, that's getting more and more prevalent and the WWE is feeding off of it. They figure as long as we send the guy out that you want to see and he just talks or even does his entrance or whatever, that's the biggest part of it. We don't need to go any further. Anyway, what did you think of Rey Mysterio and Pablo Escobar against Grayson Waller and our boy Austin Theory?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me about this match. I mean, it was all right. It got killed by the commercial break, so it was hard for me to really get into it at all.
I swear to God, that's what I was going to... Ray opens up strong and did a dive, and they went to like a sudden break, almost like I was expecting to see the fucking news bullet. We interrupt this program to bring you a special announcement because they're in the middle of something, and it just went to black in a minute and a half. And they came back and were getting heat on Ray, and not much was happening. And there was a cold tag, and then Escobar did a big comeback. He's really working for this spot, right? False finish, 4-way. And Waller finally just hit his finish on Escobar, 1, 2, 3. And Escobar had saved Rey Mysterio from that fate. And there was nothing wrong with it. It's just there wasn't much there, and it wasn't much good.
It was all about that. It was all about Escobar saving Ray.
Yes.
You sat through those commercials for that.
You basically sat through the entrances and the match and the commercials and everything. Bobby Lashley in the ring in a nice suit. And everybody, according to him, is asking the same thing. What's going on with you and the Street Profits?
Where's MVP and why isn't he managing you anymore?
Yes, where is Cedric and Shelton and what happened to the Hurt Business? Why have they recast it? But basically Bobby's story is that real recognizes real and great recognizes great. And the Profits music plays, and here they come in their suits, and boy, they do look dapper. They're very well dressed, and everybody hugged. And it looks like they're all baby faces. And then, do you even remember the Street Profits promo or what they said? Or do you remember how it struck you?
They teased that they were going to turn on Lashley, which immediately struck me as I've seen this angle before on this with Edge and Judgment Day, let alone other things. But then they didn't do that.
Well, that was there was a brief tease of that in the line, but also from the start and from the finish, their promos are annoying and heelish. Ford especially. whatever the fuck his concept is he's going for. I don't know why he talks like that. But they were presented as babyface. People were cheering them. They haven't really done anything wrong. And Bobby spoke like that. And then they come out and try to see if they can be as annoying as they can fucking be. But that's where they say, but Bobby, we got 2 words for you. And it was rumble, rumble, rumble. Oh, thank you. And then Lashley says, we're putting everybody on notice. We're coming for power, control, and gold. So I wrote here, is Bobby a babyface and the Street Profits are going to be heels, or are they just really fucking annoying babyfaces? And then I got no answer from the page I wrote that on either.
Is Bobby Lashley a babyface or a heel?
Well, he certainly comes out there and smiles and hadn't said anything out of the way. And because
they all seem heelish to me, even though Bobby was a babyface right before this.
Well, I was about to say they switched him a while back, and then he's been back and forth. Anyway, so what happened? Oh, and then as they're walking past, as they're leaving the ring, here comes Sammy and Owens, and they come out with the tag team belts, and they have a confrontation in the aisle. Not a confrontation, but like they're face-to-face, and the Street Profits invite them to pass on in a friendly manner, so we don't know what the fuck's going on. And here's somebody else I thought were baby faces. Escobar's stooges in the LWO. Are they not baby faces now?
Yeah, of course, the LWO are a babyface faction.
Then why did Sammy and Kevin beat them in 2 minutes? 1 tackle pancake, 1, 2, 3.
It was a tag team eliminator match.
It was a tag team burial match. At least if you're a heel, you got it coming and you can bitch a little. But when you're a babyface team and the babyface tag team champions just beat you 1, 2, 3 in 2 minutes.
Well, that's part of the problem with the LWO. They come out there, Rey Mysterio's over, and he's a legend. Zelina Vega's over. She's been there a while. Escobar's getting there, and the fans are accepting of him. And like you said, he's working hard. The 2 guys that came with Escobar, nothing against them, but the way they've been presented, they're just 2 guys in the background. They have nothing about them that stands out. So, I mean, this is a great example of how WWE must think of them if they use, like you said, the babyface tag team to lose to the top babyface tag team.
Well, they're the babyface version of Imperium, Gunther's Stooges. At least they're bigger and they're heels so they can get away with it better. So, AJ Styles is really pissed off at Jimmy Uso for being rude to Mia Yim in the back earlier. I didn't mention that because I didn't care. But then Solo leveled AJ and fucking just knocked the shit out of him back there. And then Solo told Jimmy, all these, got to keep track of who's mad at who this week. Solo told Jimmy that he's out of the bloodline when they say he's out of the bloodline, and apparently they ain't said yet. And Jimmy told Solo off and walked out. So they're just... And then when they came back, AJ was even further pissed and wanted Solo to, I know you'll never believe this, for tonight. So we got that going for us. Here was the segment of the program. Notice I said the segment of the program because so far we got nothing. Miz and LA Knight again. The Miz is growing on me. Kind of like fungus on the bottom of a shower curtain.
You know what, though? This is the most you've watched of like him doing something in a row. Usually, like, you watch maybe one thing with him because it involves other people, and then you fast forward through his stuff for weeks at a time. And he's involved in a lot of stupid shit, but he's being used here in a way that he's involved with someone who's on the way up, and I'm glad you're giving this stuff a chance.
Well, and here's the thing. It didn't take long to watch his shit the past several months when he was getting beat by everybody in 2 minutes. So, I got used to that's what's happening. But he does the brief promo, And they're talking about their match at Payback, but here comes LA Knight, and he gets the big pop again and the chance. And he cut the promo on Miz's impersonations. And you know what they're doing that's working, I think, is where you would what somebody in a promo with LA Knight, they're yelling him. And this may work for him. If he, because he's got him yelling already when he's running him into the fucking desk head first, blah, blah, blah.
We've heard from a lot of listeners who have gone to shows AEW and WWE. They say people are yaying all throughout the building the whole night. It's caught on.
Well, and hey, so did malaria. But, you know, we'll go with what's working. But anyway, the promo is Miz is a wannabe, and he worked hard to get there, and Miz walked in off a reality show. You want a game show, motherfucker. So Miz fired back up with all of his accomplishments, and LA Knight said the star of Miz and Mrs. was Mrs. And there was a perfect opportunity here, and if I believe I know that LA Knight is clever enough, he thought of it and probably pitched it, and they wouldn't let him say it. But he was telling Miz that if your wife has an empty feeling inside, after you're lost to me, she can call me to fix it. He should have said, if she's feeling empty after you're lost to me, she can call me to fill her up. But I bet you they wouldn't fucking let him get by with it. Anyway.
Okay.
What?
Okay, you seem to be really, you think he would have gone for that line.
God, I had a heartbeat. Are you out of your fucking mind? That was laying right there in front of him on a platter?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, Miz says he's going to crush his hopes and dreams and send him back to 2003, and LA Knight fired up strong, and then inevitably, as these things do happen, Miz swung and LA Knight ducked and ripped his jacket off and did a nice stagger to throw it away and turned around into the fucking full Nelson Dennis Condrey facebuster. And boom, and Miz rolls out and he's leaving like, fuck you. And LA Knight gets up and gets back on him. And that's when the referees come to pull him apart and everything. And that was a good segment, especially when everybody's laid out with one move and then the other guy walks off for 5 minutes. It was nice to see LA Knight come back and they got in another skirmish that had to be separated by authority figures. But that was a good set. That was the best segment on the program.
Those two have had a few great segments now, or good segments. I don't want to say great, but really good segments. And I think a few of them have been the best on the program they were on. They've kind of been doing Raw and SmackDown. Miz is really good. His facial expressions are great too. LA Knight, I was impressed where at one point he lost it. Whatever he was trying to say, he lost the phrasing and he started stumbling.
The
pay line.
Shop.
The pay line, or I think he called it at the end. He lost his phrasing and then he recovered. And I was impressed by that.
Yeah. Well, and you could see him start to chuckle like, oh, goddamn, I'm going to go down in flames over Payday Loans shop. And then he got it. See, I can't say it either now. But yes, we give him applause on that one. All right, Bayley wrestled Shotzi. Know everybody's happy to hear that. And then the main event on the program, as we mentioned before, was AJ Styles and Solo. And again, AJ Styles is a wonderful performer, and Solo is better than his experience level indicates that he probably should be, but he's not a normal style worker, and he shouldn't be. I'm not advocating that. He's a punch and kick, chop meat kind of straight ahead offense guy, and then uncorks the freaky Samoan athleticism with a big move or dive or whatever. And he shouldn't sell like Ricky Morton. But I tend to think that he should be more in a position where he's short and explosive instead of going for long singles matches in put together matches that we just heard about because he tackled the guy backstage. Because it's kind of a lot of repetition. Are you catching the drift that I'm laying down to you? Are you catching my smacketh?
I guess so.
There's nothing wrong with it, but there was nothing earth shaking here, and
it wasn't anything to hold you.
Not to hold me or love me or squeeze me. Loving, hugging, squeezing, pleasing. But finally, AJ went for the springboard. Jimmy appeared and tripped him, and Solo spiked him. And honestly, even though they started 15 minutes before the top of the hour, before the end of the program, with the commercials, there was only 8 minutes of match on the air, and it seemed longer. And then Jimmy hugged Solo, and Solo went to spike Jimmy, but Paul said no. And then Solo walked out, and Jimmy super kicked and big splashed off the top AJ Styles and held up one finger. And it wasn't that one. It was the number one. And that's the way we went off the air. So this is a volatile group, Brian. Your thoughts on the interplay between the bloodliners?
Until something happens, I'm kind of over it. And that was SmackDown. I have nothing else I got to add to that. Uninspiring main event, despite AJ Styles' talent. Ooh. You know, Roman Reigns has not been on for a couple weeks now. I'm already a little tired of the stuff with the Usos. The LA Knight Miz stuff is the only stuff I really liked.
Well, and somebody's got to carry that program, for heaven's sake. Because if somebody don't carry it, it's just going to lay there and flop around like a dead fish. And that's kind of what we've been looking at. But I wish there was something to keep me busy, Brian. Something to keep me busy while I'm staring at these matches, because you can't listen to the commentary. And the ring mat on the WWE programs, they don't make any noise. They've got those padded so bad. So really, you could just watch the show, except for the interviews, and you could listen to something else at the same time and probably be more entertained. I wish there was some way that I could watch one thing and listen to another thing. How in the world could that be done?
Our friends from Raycon.
You don't have to listen to that shit in the Raycon wireless earbuds, folks. Yeah, hey. I promise you. Only on this program. No, yeah, the Raycon wireless earbuds are our friends over there that we've been talking so well about for so many years now. They're doing a special. They're doing a special here because you know what time it is, Brian. What time of year it is, what the season is, what the annual event of September is, don't you?
The annual event of September, Rosh Hashanah.
Oh, for God's sake. No, it's school's back in session.
Oh, back to school.
Rosanna Arquette will have to wait because school's back in session. And that means that Raycon is having their annual back-to-school sale because here's the thing, kids and young adults, well, people of all ages, and get your parents' permission before ordering the Raycon wireless earbuds. We've got to make that plain. But here's the deal. The kids are going back to school, and they're going to need Raycon wireless earbuds because they're going to be in these classrooms, and they're going to be being asked questions, and they're going to be taking tests, and they need some high-tech way in this modern scientific day and age to cheat because the teachers are smart to the note passing and the looking to the next desk for somebody else's answers. But thanks to the Bluetooth and the cell phones and the smartphones and the internet technology, what you can do is you can beat up the weakest, smartest kid in the class and force him to broadcast to you on your Raycon wireless earbuds the answers to all the tests that your teachers are going to give you.
Well, we don't advise anyone to do that. You shouldn't do that, although I did understand that's how Tony Khan became popular in high school.
Are you denying that it is entirely possible to do what I just said can be done?
It can be done. I didn't say it couldn't be done. I said it shouldn't be done.
Well, who are you to be the arbitrator of social values and mores in the industry today?
Who are you to advocate for someone to have their head bashed in to I don't even know what you were saying.
I didn't say bash his head in. I said you take the weakest kid in class, but who is probably also the smartest, and you take him out behind the barn, and you give him a little incentive to do your bidding, and then he's sitting there in the back, and the teacher's not going to suspect him because he's there all the time. He's acing these tests. She don't have to worry about him. He's a nerd. And meanwhile, what he's doing is he's got that little Secret Service microphone that comes on these cell phones that he's got it inside his T-shirt, and he's broadcasting to everybody in the class, hey, 4 + 4 = 8, or whatever the question is. And everybody's going to ace that test courtesy of the Raycon wireless earbuds in their back-to-school sale, because the folks at Raycon want your kids to be smart. And they were not able to do anything about their genetic makeup or whatever in the world you've done to destroy your own brain cells before you spawned them. So they're going to give them a little boost, a little help, a little leg up in the learning industry. That's what they're going to do. Optimize gel tips in a range of sizes for the perfect in-ear fit. So if little Jughead has little teeny tiny ears or big elephant ears, you'd need to put your fist in there to plug up the hole. They can work it. And they won't budge. They're comfortable, but they won't come out. And that way they're not falling out when the teacher's walking by and seeing evidence. And they've got 8 hours of playtime. If your kid's in school longer than 8 hours, that means he's in detention. Well, fuck him. He's brought shame on the family. And they start at just half the price of the other premium audio brands because Raycon wants your kids to have money left over to eat lunch, regardless of whether it's peanut butter and jelly or Spam sandwiches or whatever. Raycon is in favor of free Spam for all students. So, if you want customizable Raycon wireless earbuds with the sound profiles, the earbud tap functions, the noise isolation, the awareness modes, the high-fidelity audio, the IPX6 water and splash resistance, whatever the fuck that means, and you want to be able to make sure that your kids don't flunk out of school so you can kick them out as soon as they turn 18, well then right now, go to buyraycon.com, BUYRAYCON.com/JCE. You're going to get 20% off everything they got. Their back-to-school sale, get them while they're hot. They're not stolen. They just overheat in your ears and potentially melt your eardrums. BuyRaycon.com/JCE, 20% off these fine quality Raycon wireless earbuds.